Okay, so if there's one key element of your video creation process that can have a huge impact on how your videos look and feel like, it's your lighting setup. The unfortunate part is that most creators who are just starting out will tend to index a lot more on getting a better camera, even though the lighting in their video will have a much bigger impact. Because here's a fun fact. Your videos can look super cinematic even if you're shooting with a smartphone if you have the right lighting setup. But on the other hand, if you have bad lighting, you may have the best camera in the world, but your video may still suck big time. So in this video, we'll take you through 5 lighting basics that you must know if you've just started creating videos. Sounds useful? Let's jump right in. Let's start with the most basic but the most overlooked tip of them all. Lighting the subject well. Ensuring that you have enough light on your subject is the most important step. Now you'll be amazed at the number of times we've seen creators not take care of this because they believe that the camera perceives things like our eyes do. So if we're in a room and we feel that the room is adequately lit, it is very easy for us to assume that this is how the video will look when we shoot it. However, we both know by now this is far from the truth. One way to tackle this and ensure that you don't make this mistake is by taking a test shot. The test shot will ensure that you don't have any unnecessary shadows or overexposed areas in your frame. To professionally light up your subject, you don't necessarily have to invest in an expensive lighting setup. You can just ensure that you shoot your subject right next to a natural source of light, like a window. Or if you can't plan your shoot in advance, you can always invest in a basic pair of ring lights which you can get for as low as $30. This brings us to tip number 2, which is not to use overhead lighting to light up your shot. So one of the biggest mistakes a beginner creator makes while lighting their shots is by going with the default overhead lighting of the room. This might not be something you may want to hear, but you absolutely have to steer clear of using the overhead lighting for your videos. The biggest reason being that it paints the background walls, other objects, and the subject in the same even tone, making it super difficult to differentiate the subject from the background. Not just that, but the overhead lighting can cast unattractive shadows on your subject's face, especially under the eyes, which can look extremely bad on camera. So you definitely want to ditch overhead lighting for alternatives like adjustable lamps, LED lights, or ring lights, which can be placed in front of your subject and can be lit in front of them. Tip number 3 is to place your camera on the opposite side of the light source to create depth in the frame. The general thumb rule you may want to follow is that on whatever side your main light source is onto your subject, the camera needs to be on the other side of the subject so that it catches the dark side of your subject's face. What this will do is add a lot more depth and character to your scenes, and it will instantly make it look super cinematic. This might seem very simple, but you may be amazed at how many people don't do this and what this one change can do to your videos. I challenge you to go look at any iconic movie scene and you will always see that the camera is set up on the dark side. Here are 2 shots of the same frame, one with the camera on the same side as the light and one on the dark side, and you can clearly see which has more character and depth. Our 4th tip on our list is to use the standard 3-point lighting setup for your videos. This is a standard setup that is used by most creators and YouTubers where you need 3 lights to light your subject. You need a key light, which is your main light, a fill light on the other side to even out any shadows caused by key light, and a backlight to help separate the subject's head from the background. Imagine that your subject is at the center of a clock with the camera at 6. The key light is located approximately at 4. It should be the brightest of the 3 and provides the bulk of light to your subject. The fill light is approximately at 8, which eliminates shadows caused by the key light. The backlight is located somewhere between 1 and 2, separating your subject from the background. This kind of 3-point lighting setup is a standard go-to for a lot of creators and is really easy to implement in a room of any size. If you pick up any video from our channel, you will see the same exact setup in all of them. There is a key light on the right, a fill light on the left, and a backlight that lets you differentiate between the outline of Teresa's hair and the background. This brings us to our last tip, which is to avoid lighting from multiple sources for your videos. When you use light from multiple sources, such as a yellow lamp and a natural light, the lamp will produce a warm tungsten light, while also receiving cooler light from the window, leading to competing color temperatures that will result in an odd light combination on your face. The mixed lighting can be rough on your camera sensors too, as it's trying to adjust the white balance in your frame. And depending on how your sensor manages to do this, you can end up with either very warm and yellow shots or very pale or blue ones. If your camera is struggling with different color temperatures, you may want to turn off the warm lamp lighting and stick with the natural lighting. Or maybe use the warm light in a closed room away from natural lighting. Also, always remember that more light isn't always better. If you overexpose your subject with a lot of light, your video will not be able to capture the details of the subject, and your video will not look crisp and sharp. And that's a roundup of 5 super easy but super effective tips that you can use to instantly make your videos look better and super cinematic without having to buy or invest in a fancy camera or a lighting equipment. If you found value in this video, we'd love for you to give us a big thumbs up and check out our next video in which we'll talk about 6 video editing tips that will make you a better video creator.
Đăng ký dùng thử miễn phí phần mềm tạo video tại trang web invideo.mi.